does it do, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. I am your host. And I thought just because the LA Rams have been put out to pasture, and that's the thing. See, McGenius put out to pasture by the kneecap biters. It ain't so, McWonder. But I thought just because the LA Rams have been put out to pasture and their season is done, there's no reason why I can't continue to bring you these episodes. Because, let's face it, I've been with you since the beginning of this season, and quite a season it has been. And so, here we are now, winding down to the end. And, well, I've been giving you my predictions as we move through the playoffs. And, well, I'm going to tell you if I'm right. I'll tell you if I'm wrong. And I've been doing pretty good calling these NFL playoff games as of last weekend. In fact, I was 8-2. 8-2 through 10. And going into this week, only 2 games. And, well, I went 500 as it turned out. And you know why? Because I bet against my homie. And so, my folks, I have learned a lesson. And see, that is, I think, what really distinguishes someone from another individual with bird brain behavior, is the ability to learn when data, evidence is presented to alter your concept. And so, I have learned, you don't bet against my homie, okay? And so, I did call the San Francisco-Detroit game, but at the end of the first half, I thought I had made a drastic error and was about to go overdue. And then the kneecap biter. Did you see him? Oh, and I thought, how was it that McGenius allowed himself to be ousted from the tournament by the kneecap biter? I mean, have you been watching all season long? We've been covering it. But you saw in that Dallas game, the kneecap biter, he refused to take the tie. Refused. He even moved back 7 yards from the goal line. He still threw an ill-fated pass, which, as fate would have it, a penalty gave him another shot, and he tried it again. The kneecap biter would not tie the game. And see, that's what I'm talking about when I say these folks have tendencies. Proclivities. And the kneecap biter has shown for the longest time he's wild and reckless. Okay? Kind of proud of it. And, well, that in the end, the football gods are gonna get the last bite. And the kneecap biter bit off more than he could chew with father. And, Heartbreak Hotel for the Lions. Put them up. Well, no. Put them down. Eliminated. And why? Why, my folks? Because they were out of balance and they abandoned the run. Now think about it. Up 24-7 at halftime, running at will seemingly. And then the second half, you come out and only attempt 8 runs. Only 8 runs with a 24-7 lead coming out of the half. What manner of lunacy has come over you? And I thought, I guess, in order to beat McWonder, he had to be McWonder. He pulled a McWonder, abandoned the run in the second half, coughed up the lead. And then, if all of that wasn't bad enough, and then, with a chance late in the fourth quarter to just go ahead and tie the game, to stop the bleeding, to alter the course of the momentum, to tie it up and reset, the kneecap biter stayed true to the foolishness. And he eschewed the 3 points. And he went for the kill, and he got killed instead. The lion is down and was out from there. And the kneecap biter, I saw the kneecap biter say in the post-game presser, he said, I don't regret the decision. Say you don't? Oh. Well, then that portends badly for you and the organization if you don't see the error of your ways, Mr. Biter. And I kept thinking during the game, how did someone with such proclivities, how did McWonder let him outcoach him in the playoff game? And to be honest, if you recall, late in the game, the Rams were driving, and that final throw to Puka, and they impeded at the top of the route, and then pulled his jersey to prevent him from elevating, and interfered pass interference. There was no flag. And that flag or that catch would have put the Rams in field goal range, and then with that little time left, a field goal gives the Rams a 2-point win over the kneecap biter, just as I initially predicted from the heart, of course. But no, it was not to be. And I can't squarely blame the refs because, like Mr. Biter, Coach McWonder abandoned the run and paid the penalty, as I unfortunately suspected he would. And so the kneecap biter, instead of applying the lessons of Father Shanahan, he went McWonder style and met a McWonder-like outcome. He abandoned the run against Father Shanahan. Father Shanahan, of all people, you abandoned the run against Father Shanahan? Don't you know he owns McWonder? For that very reason, Father rolls out of bed on the 25-30 principle. We'll get to the numbers. Down goes the kneecap biter, down and out. Father Shanahan, as I initially predicted, advances to the Super Bowl. But where I learned my lesson was with that Baltimore KC game. Because honestly, I thought this was Baltimore's time. I thought the Magic Man, I called him Lamar, I thought this was his moment. He had the best team. They had proven themselves, except against the Rams. Remember, against the Rams pushed them around with the run until McWonder became McWonder and wasted it. 9 straight runs to get a 1st and goal at the Baltimore 5, and then 3 pass plays for nothing field goal. But I digress. But Baltimore, for most of the season, has looked every bit the part of the AFC representative in the Super Bowl. And KC has not, despite the fact, remember now, KC is the defending champion, right? And so I think, was guilty of not really seeing the bigger picture when it comes to Mahomes. I think that we are witnessing actually the unimaginable right now. Because after what we saw with the old GOAT, Brady and the Cheatriots, I call them, Belichick, after the run we saw with them and all the championships and the acclaim, it was sort of, for a time there, just assumed that this was untouchable, rarefied air. The old GOAT occupied. But I think now we are very possibly watching the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL right now, in his prime. He hasn't compiled enough accolades yet. He hasn't played long enough to get enough championships yet. But for where he is, 6 seasons in, 6 AFC championship games, 4 Super Bowls, and this one, if he wins it, his 3rd championship. Pretty amazing. And I watched that game, the Baltimore KC game, with rapt attention. And honestly, Lamar struggles. He misses throws, and I'm going to say maybe a little more than I feel comfortable with. But what I've noticed, and he did in the Rams game, miss throws, but what I've noticed is that he doesn't seem to elevate his game as these stakes increase. He seems to almost shrink a little. From La Magic Man, La Marvelous to Lamar. I don't put it all on him, of course. They too seem to abandon the run for whatever reason. The Ravens, this vaunted ground game team, chose not to run. And they had a magnificent season. And so, props and everything. But the point is, Patrick Mahomes, this dude, he is actually the magic man. It's Mahomes. And I'm watching that game and I'm like, I see. It isn't Lamar, it's Mahomes who is the magic one. And it's not always these remarkable plays or runs, or he has the sleight of hand. He has the magician capability, but he plays with such a smoothness, butter smooth, that there are no mistakes. He's got the NFL record, most 6 consecutive games, postseason games, no interception. No quarterback in NFL history has ever done it. I'm sure he won't throw one. I don't expect he'll throw one in the Super Bowl either. So, as I sat there watching that game, I was like, oh, I see now. Even if Lamar does have a more dazzling run or escape the pocket somehow, it's not sustainable over the course of a season or even a big game. Whereas my homie, it's like a metronome, and the beat goes on. And so, there you have it, my folks. I went 9-3 through the first 12 playoff games, and now we are down to the final game, the big game, the Super Bowl. And so the 13th pick, you probably have already guessed it, but I am going with my homie, the real Magic Man. He went up to Baltimore and took Lamar's nickname. Give me that. I am he. Okay? I'm him. So I'm going with my homie in the Super Bowl. The only, and of course they don't need it, of course, but the only word of caution I would give to the fat man, Andy Reid, and the coaching staff is don't get too far out of balance with fun, okay? Father feasts when you out of balance. And so, other than that, I do expect KC will be hoisting yet another Super Bowl championship up. Coming up real soon in the big game. That is my prediction anyway. And, you gotta, I don't care for them damn Niners, you know that, but you gotta give credit where it's due. Father Shanahan, I don't know, maybe he's a subscriber, like a burner account subscriber, I don't know, but on the other hand, he follows the core principles I've been preaching on this channel. Successful, offensive, foundational concepts. Balance and 25-30 principle, which allows you to restrain the poltergeist. And Purdy, he's got a little bit of a poltergeist in him, all right? So you've seen him cough him up. And so I expect Purdy will have a visit from the malevolent one in the Super Bowl. I'll predict that. At least one poltergeist strike for Purdy. KC wins another one. And so quickly, let's look at the numbers from these last couple games over the weekend. And so with KC and Baltimore, well, the numbers were very similar, my folks. Down the line, across the board, very, very close, all the way down. KC was much better third down efficiency than Baltimore, but, Baltimore was 2 for 2 on fourth down, and KC ran more plays. But here's the thing now with Baltimore. Was mistakes. Mistakes get tight. And so, both teams punted the ball. 5 punts. Baltimore 6 KC. But KC had 3 penalties, 30 yards. Baltimore, 8. 8 penalties in the AFC Championship game, playing like it's the preseason. 8 penalties, 95 yards. That's getting tight. Nerves, And maybe even more telling, KC, no fumbles lost, but Baltimore coughed up 2. Double cough. 2 fumbles lost. And what about the malevolent one? Well, as you know, he was in Baltimore. He had field access And it was Lamar who threw the poltergeist strike. So there was the interception. That's 3 turnovers for Baltimore. 3 turnovers plus all the penalties and mistakes. You're not going to beat KC like that. Not my homie. Not the new Magic Man, no. And so you combine that with your befuddling decision to not run the ball and get out of here, Harbor. You're done. And so let's look quickly at let's look at these final numbers now. Well, my homie, 30 of 39. Wow, what a completion percentage. That is 30 of 39 for 241, a touchdown. He was clean, of course. 39 passes. What about running the ball? Well, Pacheco, 24 carries. I like Pacheco. Pacheco runs like somebody took something from him. Pacheco had 24 carries, only 2.8 per. But see, that's what I've been trying to convey to McWonder. It's not that you're gouging them. The point is, you are putting the run game in effect. And that opens up what you really want to do. But he won't listen to me. Well, he's on the couch now. Maybe he has more time to subscribe. And so 24 carries for Mr. Pacheco. My homie has 6. That's 30. And then Kelsey got a carry, and so did Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay, he had a carry. That's a total of 32. So look at that. That's very, very well done in terms of overall balance. 39 passes, 32 runs. He eclipsed the minimum requirement of 25 carries. He had 32. So, and then you've got my homie, the Magic Man, helming it all. So, on the other side of the ledger, Lamar Jackson, 20 of 37, 17 incompletions there. 20 of 37, 272. He had the touchdown and the poltergeist, right? But in terms of the run game, remember 37 pass attempts for Baltimore, but run game, well, they only had 16 run attempts. 8, 3 is 11, and 2 is 13, and 3, 16 carries total for the game. 37 passes, 16 runs, more than double. Out of balance, you lose. It's a 17-10 game. There's no reason to be that out of balance. There's no reason to abandon the run game, but they did it. And so, of course, you paid the penalty for not following the 25-30 principle. Let's quickly and finally look at the numbers from the San Francisco-Detroit game. Well, Jared Goff, the golfer, 25 of 41. Woo! 41. It was a high-scoring affair, to be sure, but Detroit got all theirs in the first. They had 24 in the first half. Only scored 7 on the back end. 25 of 41 for 273. Well, what about rushing? Let's see. Well, let's see. Mr. Montgomery had 15 carries and Gibbs had 12 totes. That's 27, and then 1 each for Williams and for the Kimite, Amin-Ra. And so that's 29. I mean, it's still out of balance, 29 to 41, but you were up 24-7. What you going to abandon the run for and get out of balance on the pass tip? Like you just, you weren't content, but like I say, what I have repeatedly said, look at Father. Okay, let's just look at the numbers together here. I haven't checked these numbers. I just watched the game, but here's the numbers. Purdy, 20 of 31. Okay, he threw the ball. Well, the 25-30 principle says cap it at 30, and he had 31. So Father, he's right there now. Purdy, 20 of 31 for 267. He did have a touchdown. He did have a poltergeist strike. Okay? 20 or 31. All right, what about rushing? Well, let's see. McCaffrey had 20 carries right there. And then Purdy, 5 totes. Mitchell, Debo had 3. Use check. So that's 25, 29, 32, 33. This is what I'm trying to tell you about Father Shanahan. He rolls out of it. He does this when he, it's like it's breathing. Purdy had 31 pass attempts. They ran the ball 33 times. You can't get much more balanced than that, can you? 33 run plays, he outran. Now remember, Father was down 24/7 and he did not abandon the run. He kept running the ball. He's down running the ball, and the kneecap biter is up big and chucking it. And so Father nails the 25-30 principle once again. He is in complete balance once again. And once again, Father Shanahan is going to the Super Bowl. And so what I would say to the fat man and KC is, if you get too wildly out of balance, Father will wear you down. He will wear you slowly, gradually, but by the end of the fourth quarter, he got your ass. If you get out of balance, he knows the formula, the recipe. He knows the principle, the 25-30 principle. I've been trying to give it to McWonder. I can't give it to McWonder. Father in the Super Bowl, but I'm going to predict that even though he'll stay in balance, he will not defeat the Magic Man, my homie. And so there you have it. And so I hope you have enjoyed this episode, but now what I need from you, what I need you to do is throw me one of these. Okay? Throw me one now. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. I have got some very exciting new content coming up. And so, until the next time, which won't be too long from this time, Scotty says, one love.